What's poppin', everybody? This is Cerebral4 here to discuss the newly announced cards that are going to be banned in the expanded format. So, this news is a bit old, but since my computer broke down, I couldn't talk about it immediately. But I'm very happy. I thought this was a miracle when I saw it. I was literally just talking to myself aloud how this is a miracle. Not only are they going to ban Marshadow and Red Card, which I've hated so much ever since they've been around, especially Marshadow, since it was searchable and it kind of caught on. Fucking cards. But they're going all out, banning the Chip Axe, banning Lieutenant Surge's strategy, Getsis, Mismagius, Flabebe too. We're going to talk about that later. And Island Challenge Amulet, which we haven't gotten yet. It's going to come out in Cosmic Eclipse. Okay, so the big cards for me, Marshadow and Red Card. So these cards essentially turned the Pokemon TCG into Yu-Gi-Oh! In a way. It's like the way Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, the reason why I hate it, these cards basically transform it almost like that. The same like that, actually. In the philosophy in that I'm going to do what I'm going to do, turn 1, okay? And then finish it off with this Marshadow or Red Card and leave you with no hand. So I'm going to leave you with a disadvantage, a major hand disadvantage. And even worse, like if you don't see a supporter, it's pretty much an auto loss. You're in top deck mode already, while I just played everything, did everything, busted stuff and expanded turn 1, and then leave you with nothing. It is completely unfair. It's insane. Hand removal, hand rape, hand destruction, however you want to call it. Lose 3 cards from your hand, depending on how many basic Pokemon you opened with and played down. And it's crazy. You always have to worry about it in Expanded. Like if they run this card, if they play this card, if they find this card turn 1, I'm basically screwed. And it really just ruined the Pokemon TCG for me and made it like Yu-Gi-Oh! Pretty much. So thankfully with these getting banned, the format is going to become more healthy again. At least on the first turn, I don't have to worry about my hand being disrupted so easily, just easily and so quickly, so cheaply. And you feel kind of safe. So, next up, Flabebe. This might be a bit weird for you guys, but I'm going to explain why. It's easy, but maybe you guys don't know. So this Flabebe from Forbidden Light, what it can do is if you go second, this Pokemon can evolve during your first turn. So this is a pretty innocent ability and a useful ability for basic Pokemon when you're playing Stage 2 lines. It's a useful thing to have. Help them be a bit fast in the rough metagame. But the problem is, their mistake is they decided to release a new Floette and a new Florges that they discard cards from your hand when they get into play, when they evolve. So this Floette, when you play it down, your opponent has to discard a card. I think it's random or you get to choose, something like that. It's pretty strong, of course. It's hand destruction. And it essentially enables you to do almost the same with Marshadow. So for example, you get to play second, you search out a few Flabebes with Nest Ball or Elm, Bridget, whatever. And then you can use Ultra Ball or Level Ball, search the Floettes, evolve them immediately, and then discard a bunch of cards from your opponent's hand. So even if you discard like 2 is strong, but you can discard 3 or even 4. And just discarding 1 is also very annoying. It's just a free discard before your opponent gets to play. I don't think it's as bad as Marshadow and Red Card, but hey, they decided to ban that too, and I'm happy with that. Next up is Mismagius, which, to be honest, this card, I know all the broken combos you can do with it, but it's kind of fair in my opinion. It's a stage 1, your opponent gets a prize. It gives you some decent draw. But anyway, I can see why they would ban it. I didn't use it, so no problem with me. Red Card, of course, fuck this card. Same thing with Marshadow. This in ways is stronger than Marshadow, but in many ways Marshadow is stronger than Red Card. But both of them really suck. Red Card is the same thing. If your opponent sees it, if they search it out, somehow with the order pad or whatever, they can just cheaply put your hand to 4 cards before you even play. And the Chip Axe, just control shit strategies, controlling your opponent's deck, what they're gonna draw. I hate this stuff. I'm glad they're banning it. Getsis and Lieutenant Surge. Getsis is already banned in our format, and I'm gonna talk about this later actually. But it's the same thing. Hand destruction, very strong card. It gives you draw and hand destruction to your opponent, hand discarding. It's very strong. And then Lieutenant Surge strategy. This card, I mean, to be honest, is a bit, well, not really fair, but, it does have at least some conditions. They get to play 2 supporters, they got to play this first, they got to be losing. I never liked it, so I'm glad it's going away, but, I guess it wasn't as bad as something like Marshadow, but okay, fine with me, no problem. Get rid of all of the troll stall control shit tactics that are just way too prevalent in the Pokemon TCG. It's crazy. And then the Island Challenge Amulet. This is a card we haven't received yet, but it's coming out in our Cosmic Eclipse set. Maybe they won't ban it immediately in our format because it's going to be new, but eventually I think it's going to get the same treatment because of what it does. So what this card essentially does is it allows you to reduce your GX or EX's HP to 100 or by 100, something like that. And then if it's knocked out, your opponent takes 1 less prize card. So this can open itself up to nasty combos where you prevent your opponent from getting prizes. I've talked about some examples in my set review when I reviewed this card. So for example, you can use an expanded a Dark GX or Dark EX Pokemon, the regular ones that give 2 prizes. You combine it with the Prism Stadium for Dark Pokemon. When they get knocked out, your opponent takes 1 less prize. And your opponent, let's say they hurt the Pokemon a little bit, and then you play the Stadium, you play this, you get rid of the Pokemon, and you prevented your opponent from getting prizes. So that's one nasty combo. The other thing, even worse actually, is Life Dew. Life Dew isn't expanded. So you can essentially combine this with any GX or EX Pokemon that gives 2 prizes and, make combos where your opponent can't get prizes, basically, from those Pokemon. So it's really nasty. And that's basically it. Now, one thing to mention that is significant, a bit unfortunate, but I'm gonna held my hopes, is that you got to keep in mind that Japan's expanded format, their banned cards and our banned cards are different. For example, we had Getsis banned for quite some time now. They're just banning him right now. There are some differences in our banned cards in those formats. But I'm hoping that, if these cards are getting banned here, then maybe at least some of them will eventually get banned in our format too. Like, to be honest, out of all of these, the top cards I want banned is Marshadow and Red Card. I hated those cards for so long. Just really openly hating them. Like, every time my opponent plays them, when I duel, like, I go with a billion pissed off icon emojis because that's how mad I am. And you can't even curse and do shit in TCG Online now. But yeah, it's just they turned the Pokemon TCG into essentially how Yu-Gi-Oh is, really. Like, all the bad stuff in Yu-Gi-Oh, they copied them. And I'm just glad they're getting banned in Japan. Hopefully they get banned in our format. And that's basically the news, guys. I still didn't get all the programs that I need. I still need a Power Director. That's the program I use. I'm basically editing these videos with Movie Maker now. The previous one and this one too. I still need a few more programs. Bear with me, I'm having some difficulties, but yeah, I need to get my stuff together to make the videos how I used to. Same quality and the same stuff, basically. So bear with me. But this has been my opinions on these news. It is like a miracle. They just went all out with all these hand discarding cards, deck control cards, stall, troll, hated strategies. And I'm just very happy. Like, I still can't believe it. Hopefully it comes in all format too. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video.